Hello, Malcolm. Hello, everybody else. Welcome back to RimWorld. Um, we're back on an ice world again. Rebel base. They called their base Quilin or whatever you pronounce that like. We're gonna load that base. So we're alive and successful on an ice world. The temperature on the planet is set to minimum, rainfall to almost minimum, and we are at the edge of the North Polar Sea in some mountains. So it's pretty cold. It's like negative 65 to negative 80 in the spring and summer, quite a bit colder in the winter. It doesn't seem to go below negative 120. I got a little bit. I went into the scenario editor and gave them stuff so they could make it, because my previous attempts, my ice sheet attempt and other stuff, I've just ended in tears, frozen tears. You know, the cat freezes first, or the Yorkshire Terrier, or whatever it is that's come along with you, and then you all keel over and die too while you're trying to erect a structure and heat yourself. Even if you get a structure built and get a campfire in it, it's not enough. You still freeze to death very fast. Ow, my eye is killing me today. I may even have to stop recording. Got serious problems with one eye. However, what I did was I gave them, now it's making my nose run and I don't even have a cloth handy. I'm going to sniffle. How annoying. So what I gave them to start with was an extra colonist, so there were 4 of them. So our originals are Lilu, May, Sarai, and Sass. And since then, Red arrived, Fallow arrived. Actually, I think Fallow arrived before Red. And then Gizmo and Maghar arrived, and Cummings just arrived. He's a lazy lout. Here, let's pull out his character. He was a shelter child in a toxic world, so he gets some bonuses and minuses for that. And he was a Glitter World officer who never saw real action but became very good at breaking up fights. So he's an awesome brawler and he really likes it. He's level 11 strong expert. But he's not going to learn because I gave him a rifle. He doesn't really care about anything else. So he's basically, he's cooking, he's crafting, he's getting around the place. He's on tap as a backup doctor. So what I gave them, which I was getting to before I got distracted by Cummings, who's a cool dude. Damn, why does my nose have to run? It's my eye. My right eye is just burning me. Oh, it's awful. I think too much screen time, or I don't know what. Maybe there's something in the air. People are all running their wood stoves, and it is spring. I gave them several crates of parkas and pants and toques so that they could live. And I probably overdid it because they've still got parkas and pants and toques, but whatever, it's good. I gave them some extra steel, some extra components. I gave them 2,500 steel, and I think I gave them 100 and something components. And I gave them some extra food. I gave them like 120 food instead of 80, but I had an extra person. So we got all that, and we landed right here where these windmills are and all these snowmen are. I'll just zoom in on those, our windmills and snowmen. They've been busy building them. We landed right here and we dug in straight away quick because we were warm enough in our clothes to just dig until we had a little hole. We used our precious wood that we came with to build some beds. We got settled. So this is our original cavey hole here, and we ran into steel right away, which made it harder to build. Once we got in, we had a little room in here with our beds all lined up together. We didn't have a stove or anything. We were living on the packaged meals till we could get food production, right? So desperation. Oh yeah, that's the other thing I gave them was hydroponics research and geothermal research. Turned out we didn't need the geothermal. We could have easily gotten it done. But we did need the hydroponics. Not going to live without it. I figured, yeah, we are an expedition designed for a cold world. That's how we survived this accident. We were actually that lucky group that was designed for a cold world. And this is the bit of wood in the construction still. It was so cold in there. We could only power a certain amount of heaters with our one battery and one windmill. So we desperately tried slapping wood on the entrance, and it seemed to work, so we ended up with a wood door over here. I think it might help with insulation. And then we, as quick as we could, without stopping to rest or anything, I just gave them brutal, punishing work schedules. We dug our first hydro ball, got a couple more windmills up. I think we had like 3 before we had enough power. A couple more batteries up. The batteries were packed in here. It all looked awful. They were so unhappy. They were just miserable. They're still not the happiest, but they're doing much better. We got our first hydro ball up and went from there. And basically, yeah, after we got the first hydro ball up, we were fairly good for a while. So we just roofed over some outdoor wasteland. This was all outdoor wasteland. We roofed it over for basic storage. We roofed over some wasteland down here for basic storage. We had none of this other stuff at this time. And we just piled our belongings under the roofs as quick as we could so to preserve them. Even so, they got damaged quite a lot. As you can see, 86%, 90%, 86%, 93%. It was a while before we could get it all put away. They had so much to do. They're in the process of concreting this over. You can see the blueprints and the partially built concrete. Oh, why don't I turn off zones, because they look like crap. So where's zones? There, that looks better. All this scrap and metal is piled here because it was convenient. It's sort of blocking the exit now, which is a pain in the butt. So anyway, slowly surviving and not really prospering very much, we slowly hollowed out this rock, moving outwards from the kitchen little by little. And then after we'd gotten this rock fairly well dug out, I don't think we had everything dug out when we did it, but then we threw a branch over to this rock. So this was open before, with just some scattered rubble. We threw a branch over to this rock, dug out storage, and that was step 2, and we stalled like that for a colony year or so, just trying to recover and make it. But, you know, those Parkas kept us alive. And we slowly got built out. So we've got 2 hydro balls. We're growing rice, heel root, some cotton. I was thinking to make cotton Parkas, but then I saw what happened to people who show up in them, so that's no good. We're going to have to do wool, and we'll come to that in a minute. And we got some smoke leaf and some strawberries going. We got some plants in pots for prettiness. And we got a little storage bay down here for the proprietors' stuff. There's no orbital trading beacon there, and gotta have it, gotta have it. Nobody's going to get an addiction because what I did, actually one person did, but it's Chemical Interest Boy that did. And he's always binging on it for no reason. His mood will be at max, and it'll be like, he's had a mental break and is binging on smoke leaf. And then he'll just puff one down, and then he'll just wander around for 20 minutes, and then it'll be like, he's no longer binging. It's like, wow, big binge. So I got Drug Policy 5 up for everyone. And let's see it. So they can have nothing. They can't even drink beer. They certainly can't use hard drugs. They can have a little smoke leaf. They can have it every day. You can only have it if they're not feeling great. 67% mood, 67% joy. So, you know, if they're like, I'm bored or whatever, and they can carry a couple around with them if they want to. So that's all good. Setting up their outfits was a pain. They kept stripping naked and freezing themselves before I really figured out how the algorithm was working. It was awful. But we're good. I did start them with some charge rifles too. We haven't had much occasion to use them. We did have some occasion, as you can see. We actually fought off a pack of scythers, and that was deadly. We were so lucky to get away without serious injury. One person got shot bad in the sternum, but we patched him up and he's fine. That was, gee, I forget who got shot, actually. Check our health bars. Stoned on smoke leaf, stab scar and bite scar. Oh, there, yeah, fallow. He's got the massive tolerance and the dependence. Fine, whatever. Oh, this one's getting some tolerance up. Red, that's fine. Red's always in a bummy mood anyway, so it's good for him. Oh, my eyes. Oh, my God. What is wrong with them? They're like pouring tears. You know what? I gotta go get a cloth and wipe my eyes and face. I'll be right back. Yeah, my office used to be a sort of a master bedroom, even though it's really tiny for one. So there's a nice closet that I use for a linen cabinet, and there's a nice bathroom right here. It's pretty handy, man. You can just be the little robot in here. So Yeah, so let's see who else. Did anyone get permanent injuries? A bite scar, stab scar, bite scar. They came with those injuries. So everyone's good. Wow, I feel better after wiping my face. It's going to start again, though. I don't know what's getting me. Maybe it's an allergy. I don't normally get allergies of any kind. So yeah, and then finally we captured a geotherm up here. This is all indoors, but there's still thick frozen snow in it. And it looks nice like that. So we just got our geotherm buzzing away. Oh, look, we got a piece of slate there to haul out. Let's get them to pull that out. That looks messy. And then much, much later we captured another geotherm. This one I did double walls on in case of attack with someone with a rocket blaster or whatever. This one I did granite walls on. They'll have to be good enough. We just don't have the resources. It's a bit of a scramble. Like right now it's negative 65 out on the 4th of summer. It's balmy, man. McMurdo times 10 here. The graveyard is full of pirates, and I'll tell you a little something. Being out here is better than 100 guns, because almost every set of bandits that's showed up, we have barely had to fire a shot. We had ones try to lay siege, and they were trying to build their sandbags around their mortar placement. Where is their mortar placement? Oh, it's around. Yeah, here they are. They started here building these sandbags around their mortar placement, and I noticed one of them was having construction fail, construction fail, construction fail. So I checked his health bar, and both of his thumbs are at 0 out of 10 from frostbite. I guess his thumbs froze off, and he was still trying to work. Needless to say, we just marched up, collect their weapons, and drop their bodies off. There's been several of such raids. We'll have to expand the cemetery. We're nowhere near crematorium research. Research is, like, this is our first research project. You can see we've got geothermal and, what else did we do? Hydroponics. But everything else is just the base research that we came with. And this is our first one. We're at 280 out of 500, and it's been like 2 years. 2 years of 2 research benches and 2 offices. The research office used to be this little box down here. Tore it out for storage and built this nice little workroom. We got a few artists in the colony, so I gave them all free play. We're going to have lots of rock. I'm not worried about them consuming the stone right now, and if an exotics trader ever frickin' shows up again, I got some sculptures to sell him. We can't get land trade, even at this time of year. Well, let's see what happens. Is Gizmo up? Gizmo, where you at, bud? He's down here. He's rolling one, so let's have him call the Brigabo of the tree. And we'll see if we can get a trade. This is the warmest weather we've... Oh, he doesn't like us. Okay, well, whatever. We'll call Alvaracent. Phaedon can greet Gizmo warily and asks his business. Request a trade caravan, cost 600 silver. Bad temperature, it's grayed out. So, yeah, we can't get trade even in high summer. We're host. This is as warm as it ever gets. Okay, we come to our salvation, because all this wonder aside, all this wonder was constructed because we had case after case of Parkas. I did give them too many, but I'm kind of glad I did, because I realized that although everything's going great and we're pretty self-sufficient, and the occasional trader plus digging has given us enough components, 214 in stock right now, to stay ahead of the game. 214 components that easily last us a year. We are going to have to build out a little more food production, but we're in serious overproduction on food right now. The corn fell from the sky. So we were desperate. I realized that it's a countdown till we run out of Parkas, and then everything dies and all this work is over. So I'm like, we've got to get animals. So I carefully built out as protected an animal space as I could, because I realized that when the power goes down, anything we have is going to freeze to death. And I'm basing my plans on these two, because these are both fully overhead mount and protected, and they're inside a full ring of warm rooms, except this room is at -6, but whatever, it's not heated. And they, like at 120 below, I had a solar flare kill my power at 120 below outside, and these rooms only went down to about -63 or so. Now alpacas die at, well, their minimum comfortable temperature here is -18 Celsius. So they'll die, essentially. At -63 they will be dead. But we have still got precious wood left. Um, we've got 614 wood, and hopefully we can buy some more if a bulker comes by. So we've got some wood stocked in here, and we'll just hope they don't choke on the fumes, and hope we don't start a fire in the animal beds that we're slowly building out of our precious cotton. Um, and we'll just run in here and build campfires in here, and with 600 wood we can survive a few solar flares, and solar flares aren't common. So I think we can keep the alpaca alive until we can dig them some deeper hideys, because this is all overhead mountain protected too. If you check the thing down here, overhead mountain, concrete walk, etc. But it cools faster. Unfortunately, I did try to build it some protective airlocking out here. Plus, I wanted an impressive entranceway, because this is going to be the warren. This will be the main living space. We're going to move into this rock, and we're slowly going to tunnel it out over like 100 colony years. We're going to tunnel it out. If you go architect structure wall, you can see there's a limit beyond which you cannot build. So you don't want to dig past that limit, or you'll just have holes you can't build in. So there's the limit. But this is a big map. We got lots of room. So it will be the warren. So I'm hoping we can eventually find an even more protected place for the animals. And Alpaca 1 got food poisoning from rice. Fine, it'll puke, we'll clean it up. We're pretty good on janitorial right now. So what I'm hoping is, yeah, we'll find an overhead mountain area that's really like deep and there's no breaks, because I'm sure we're going to find open areas in here. We're going to be tunneling along and we'll find that the little mountain rift and valley has formed with a lake at the bottom or something. Be like, oh, look what we found. Couldn't have seen that unless we were in orbit. But if we can find an area sufficiently hidden, what I want to do is dig them a cave and have it communicated to only by really long heated corridors that are multi-airlocked and multi-heated, and also all overhead mountain protected, and have nothing else around them but solid rock. Just like miles of it. So protecting the animals is going to be really job one for the warren. So I'm going to spread a bedroom community down here, and we're going to do food balls up in this area. But protecting the animals is key, so we're going to want a lot of unused rock around them. So I'm really hoping we can find an area with no breaks around it. And what this means is some very careful breakdown hydroponic space, and there goes a component. Pow. It's going to be some careful exploratory tunneling to make sure we've got the right spot, because we can't fill in what we've dug. And I'm not going to get too cheaty. But I did get cheaty giving them the Parkas, and after realizing that we were dead without animals, I got cheaty and spawned orbital traders and got alpacas, and that took a while. If I'd waited for the orbital traders to bring them, I might well have run out of Parkas. I think we've got about a year and a half, maybe a year's worth of Parkas left. Well, I've got them set to dump stuff at about 53% so they don't get tattered clothing. We could wear them tattered, but then we'd only have 2 years worth of Parkas. I think, by my rough guesses. Anyway, I'm not going to do it on paper. Either way, our sculptor's getting good. Our tailor's getting quite good. He started off making lousy tribal wear for practice. Cloth tribal wear, awful. Just to get his hand in. And he's also been doing a lot of rolling work, and he's doing tons of stone cutting, and that's Gizmo is the tailor. And Cummings, the lazy one, has decided that he loves stone cutting. And you'll often see Cummins banging away at stone, and that's great because A, we suck it down for sculpture, and B, we're going to need to build some fortifications. I really like the kind of Great Britain look of this thing, and the way we've got little flags waving of wind turbines. Kind of want to get rid of these sandbags, clean it all up. But my sensible side says that I should pick the shortest distances between the rocks where I can build walls, and I've already checked that I can build walls right up to this, and get this place, like I could seal here and just have this as an interior park, and I could seal here. I took out 2 wind turbines to be able to do it actually. Seal here, and then I just have to armor plate this stuff and close this off and armor plate all this stuff. So 2 areas to armor plate only, not bad. A lot less armor plating than normal. because we are going to end up getting assaulted by like heavy mechanoids and stuff, and we can't take it right now, but our wealth is up, so they're going to come. Oh, there goes my eye. We're on Randy Random at some challenge. Really just hoping to get traders, basically. So that's pretty much my functioning winter base. I didn't try an ice sheet. I think I'd have to get way cheaty to make it work on an ice sheet. There's nothing to build with, you know. You'd be reliant on space trade for building materials. That's getting crazy. I'm reliant on space trade for all trade right now, which is leading to storeroom overage. It's so disorganized in here. Got spare rice stored here, and it will rot out eventually. It's only refrigerated, so in a year it'll rot out. That's fine. Right now we're in mass overproduction, and we have the electricity to build out more food production if needed. Maghar's digging away. Let's just see. Yeah, we got some rocks to haul here, because those slow them down moving, so we might as well haul them, and we might as well concrete this. We'll grab out floors, grab our concrete. We'll just concrete this for speed of work for these guys. That's going to be a light spot, so we'll actually go ahead and bring the power down here as well. So let's grab out our power conduit. It's not a totally disastrously disorganized power net this time. That's a bit of a stub. I don't really even know what that's powering. It's powering like one light, kind of stupid. But it's not as bad as my usual power nets. Again, power lines are in corridors and on floors. Super dangerous. We've had one explosion and fire in this short hallway, and nobody got superheated air burns. They got it put out and repaired, so no problems. So we're going to bring the power all the way down here, because this is like, well, I mean, this is classified. If you were calling us this door, it'd just be like classified, authorized only, and then it ends in a rock wall. It's like, what's classified about a rock wall? So we'll bring power down here all the way, because we're going to need it all the way. And we'll throw a light in. Furniture. We don't have colored lights. Not going to use research time on it yet. When we do, we may use some. We don't have a rec room yet. All we have is this mangy old wooden chest set, which is actually normal, luckily. They were building everything shoddy at the time, so inexperienced. But that's our entertainment. That and a horseshoes peg and 2 telescopes. We got 3 telescopes off an off-world trader. Rec room awful -2. Rec room awful +4. Oh, great. Come on. No wonder no one uses the telescopes. I gotta decorate the telescope areas. And this is all indoors, but it's still covered in thick snow. It's like Christmas corridors here, because I haven't concreted, and it's way too cold in there. It's -52 in there right now for the snow to melt. So they're just tracking through heavy snow. It's a bit slow. But I do like the look of the snow in the hallways. How's my steel? 2100 steel left. We're not at emergency levels, but I don't know what we're going to need to build out. Or if anything's going to get destroyed in a fire. We lose a wind turbine to a raider or a fire. That's 100 gone right there. Stuff like that. So, and I've used up, like, here's a steel mine. Here's a steel mine. Here's a steel mine. None up there. Here's a steel mine. There's a components mine, steel mine, etc. I've chewed out all the easily accessible close by little veins. And I don't want my people marching all over the map. It's a big map and it's a long march. So what I'm really hoping, like when we dug our initial thing, look at all the steel we hit. Like we got steel in the walls everywhere, and I don't want to cut it out. It's actually like the last thing I'll cut out, because it looks really cool. I know it doesn't have beauty for the colonists, but it looks cool to me. We will get walls in and fix the wiring in the end. Assuming we get that far. I just deleted my last colony. We've got one couple, Lilu and Fallow. We had another couple, they broke up right away. Oh, and what I did too was awesome, because the sculptor dealt with the matter. So May here got broken up with by Sass. So here's the art on this one. This piece bears a portrait of Saburo May deeply kissing Melissa, Sass, Lau between the sheets. May is a near mirror image of Sass. The triangular structure of the image almost conflicts with its complex and realistic style. A chinchilla floats near the edge of the image. This illustration relates to May and Sass becoming lovers on the 11th of winter, 5501. I would say it's making me cry, but it's not. So he really loved her, and she just dumped him like 2 days after his marriage proposal was accepted. She dumped him for no reason. So in her room, there's Sass's room. Sass. In her room, the art on the sculpture says, this carving depicts Melissa Sass Lau sitting Saburo May down for an unpleasant talk in a moment of great sadness. May is stony-faced with shock. The work is infused with the idea of contemplation and is done in a romantic style. Dozens of actors but it should be art. Dozens of actors are shown to the right of the main scene. This portrait tells the story of the breakup of Sass and May on the 1st of spring, 5501. And those are nice, solid slate sculptures, so they'll be good and permanent even in an explosion or whatever. So they've got a real memory. He's got a memory of his love and happiness, and she's got a memory of how tough things were to break up. And you know what? They have to spend the rest of their lives in the same building working side by side. So I think it's really good that they hold those memories and keep them. I think that's really cool, because it'll help them be friends, to remember what was good and what was hard and what each of them was doing. I think Gizmo did those sculptures. He did a good job. Now, we've got other sculptures around. They're not generally very high quality. Some are good, some are normal, some are quite good. There's a superior one. But they're the ones portraying the early history of the colony. And that's a mistake I've made before, is selling the early history ones in the desperate scramble for money. Well, no desperate scramble for money here. No, frickin' traders. We're waiting on the next one. We got a bunch of different stuff to sell, so that's good. I'm hoping I don't have to dig a big storage soon, because I don't want to make this Warren too unplanned. I don't want to end up with just a skeedering of rooms that don't even have use. Like, I'm digging one more bedroom here. Haul that rock out. Digging one more bedroom here so that if someone shows up, we got a bed for them. Most survivors or escapers, people fleeing pirates, they just die out here. We've had 2 make it in out of quite a few. And they both had hypothermia and one of them had frostbite. It's just like, what do you do? Good Lord, this geyser's covered in snow. Ice! That geyser's covered in ice. Well, there must have been... Now, what I don't understand is how deep water and shallow water aren't frozen at 120 below Celsius. That must be some saline water. I mean, really, it must be like a jelly of salt, basically. Well, I don't know. I'd have to look up the stats on that, but I think that should transform to ice. It's just a standard game barrier to stop you getting certain places, though. Oh, I guarantee we're going to run into open areas with water in them around these areas, so I better watch out for that. Oh, and someone walking by this wall, it was red, sensed ancient danger. So that's a room full of death. And you guys, if you ever saw some of my last sad fail RimWorld episodes, yeah, I haven't figured out good strategies for dealing with that. I'm not a fighter. I'm a builder, not a fighter, but I like to leave it on some challenge, and I'll take the fights when they come. I am a reloader. If a whole bunch of people die that I love, it's like, fine. But if we take our lumps, that's also fine. I keep it balanced. So here we are on our place. We've got our building that looks a bit like Great Britain. Very pleased with it. And then we're going to build the Warren, and I'm not happy with the physical appearance of the Warren yet, but it's going to get more orderly and hopefully look a little better. I'm not liking the shape. I'm loving the shape of this. And this looked great till I went sideways off the Hall of the Beasts, but you can't imagine it without it now. It's done. And besides, it's not even going to be the Hall of the Beasts. Now I found out it cools quicker. It's going to become like an entrance room. The idea here is, yeah, you have this sort of weird, it's like a close space but also wide, and the heat and light are strong. So you're like, where am I? And there's huge granite doors, and they open, and there's huge steel doors, and you're like, what? And then you go in, and there's like alpacas farting and pooping on the floor. But that'll change. You'll go in and come into like a nice entrance area. Maybe we'll make it a bit of a rec roomy type area, the entrance area. And then we'll get... Well, I'm figuring it's going to be so big in here that we'll have to do kind of modular. Like we'll have food production, food processing, and storage, maybe in 2 or 3 separate locations, so that people can just go work where they want. And it's great not having to cool your freezers. It's negative 43 in here in high summer, negative 49 in there in high summer, negative 5 in there. That one is 5 above, so it's acting as a decent fridge, and that one is negative 3, so that wood's frozen anyway. That'll preserve it. No bugs will get in the wood. Bugs I'm afraid of. all this lovely heated indoor space in rocks, we're a prime target for an insect infestation. I hate those. They're so hard to fight. It's like closed quarters fighting. The things are super tough and deadly. I mean, they're combat insects. They're genetically engineered combat insects. We're freaking farmers. We're not up for that, an ankheg or whatever. Oh yeah, I better tie it off. I think I've gone to like half an hour or so here and my eyes are about to fall out of my head. I gotta go walk around outside and deburn them in herds. But that's where we are right now, and I'll come back and update you as we go. I'll run around the map. There's another detail. The only animals that have showed up on this gigantic map so far are 2 thrumbos. One of them made it off the map because it was summer, and one of them came in winter, and after a few hours wandering around, it was a tough beast. It fell over and died. So we've got thrumbo meat as well as some other meat. So yeah, and that means that Red here, who is our brawler, he will not take a gun except under protest. He's got a frickin' thrumbo horn. Another breakdown, another component down. That leaves us with 213 components. Holy snap, that's awful. Okay. Well, guys, we will see you all soon for the next roundy doodle here. And we'll see if we can make it. I think we're good as long as we keep those alpaca alive. And we've got some wood, and we could probably deconstruct a couple things to get a little bit more wood. So I think until we can build them heavier defenses, because the lack of electricity will kill them, until we can build them heavier defenses, we can protect them from the occasional flare with our bit of wood we've got. And we're going to make it. We're going to make it. We're certainly not going to be making any armchairs out of that wool, but we will make them out of our small, limited, experimental cotton project. In fact, we could expand the cotton project and decrease smoke leaf, because we're super overstocked in smoke leaf. However, since Cummings arrived, I'm going to watch that, and plus people will start to want it more. So, I'll watch that. We'll also have to buy a lung or two if we can, because we could get people get carcinomas from smoking. So we'll have to. That's why I put Drug Policy 5 on. I'm tired of everyone having asthma. I can relate, yeah, as a smoker, I know it does give you the equivalent of asthma, but I'm tired of everyone having it. Like, the puffer colony is all very nice, but yeah, the health effects are real, so watch out. So I'm going to pave all this pretty snow, I guess. And we'll see you all soon for the next episode. I haven't decided on flooring for their bedrooms, but I gotta do something. They don't like their bedrooms, and it's giving them minuses. Bedrooms are... Oh, yeah. Look at Magar's bedroom. She got slept in the cold needs. Okay, she's good. Masochist in moderate pain. It's a good thing she's interests. Says, it hurts, but I love it. Keep it coming. Great, because we don't have the facilities to put a pain stopper in her right now. It's a stab scar and a bite star. They're giving her quite a bit of pain. Oh, torso 30 out of 40. That's a bad scar. That's like a quarter of her torso is scarred. What happened, Magar? Machete attack? Wow. Anyway, her bedroom. She was getting slept in the cold minuses in summer and winter all the time because her bedroom's a little more outlying. And I didn't want to shrink it down. I was like, I like it like this. She's got her corner. So I made it warm. As you can see, I made it warm. All heaters are decranked to 16 Celsius because otherwise they get hot and they get hot warnings. So all heaters decranked to 16. Everything runs pretty steady at 16. Some areas need more heat, some areas need less heat. And the corridors are cold, really cold. We won't heat them till we have significantly more power. I'm hoping to find a geothermal in here somewhere so we can harness an indoor geothermal. Ship reactors are a mile away, but God, I love them. We haven't found a scrap of plasteel, so I can't build anything like that anyway. We'll get all these things cleaned up, all this mess cleaned up, get things organized a bit. So, yeah, I am blathering on, but I do love this colony. They're doing great, and everyone's got their roles. Like, their strengths and stuff are really playing together really well. They're being good colonists. And we've only had 2 fist fights the whole time they've been here. They're getting along really well. And I hope you guys are getting along really well too today. And we will see you all soon for the next time. So until then, bye for now.